check his speed. Then you can do the check GPT. Oh, yeah, that's fine. How did the background? Some background. No, really. You got that.
That's because everybody's playing the same chord. That's what I'm saying.
All right, Shalom.
Shalom.
All right, first and foremost, before we get started, we're going to give all honor and glory and power to
Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, HaKodash.
I want to say double honors to our elders, our great apostles, great millstone, GMS, who rule well and teach well, being great example to Israel. All right, my dear elect. I want to say peace and blessings to the hopefully elect on the four corners, pushing the truth and sincerity. All right, the great song with the GMS Memphis camp. All right, just come with this little live lesson. All right, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shah. All right, as you see the title of the lesson, various topics. So we're going to try to touch on a lot of things that are happening in Babylon. All right, you know what today is, Thanksgiving. All right, and here it is. It's going around through the social media, you know, different outlets, you know, dealing with the internet. All right, Jake waking up. You know, Jake starting to see, all right, what the day beholds, man, which was the day of evil. But it's all tied to prophecy. All right, as the fourth telling what our forefather was telling the children of Israel was going to happen in a lot of days. When you go into Genesis, the 49th chapter, just involving in the Native American Indians in itself. All right, but we understand that when it goes come down to Revelation, all right, the 19th chapter, all right, everything is what the spirit of prophecy. You know, so we get straight into it. You know, whatever y'all brothers got, you know, let's bring it out. And Lord willing, y'all brothers and sisters be edified. You know what, we lay it all down.
You want the Genesis first?
Yeah, man, yeah, you go ahead.
All right, this is Genesis chapter 49, verse 19. It reads, Gad, a troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the last.
That's right. And that troop did. All right. I went into ChatGPT, right, and typed in, you know, Thanksgiving, you know, the truth, right? So I'm going to get this little point. Let me see that. That's interesting.
Here's the real, fuller truth behind Thanksgiving. Both the myth many people grew up with and the history that is often left out. Hashed, the myth you were told. Most American schools teach a simple story. Pilgrims landed. Here's the real, fuller truth behind Thanksgiving. Both the myth many people grew up with and the history that is often left out. Hashed, the myth you were told. Most American schools teach a simple story. Pilgrims landed at Plymouth. Native Americans, usually the Wampanoag, helped them survive the winter. Everyone sat down peacefully for a big friendly feast.
Right, and that's a lie. You know, but that's the thing that they play out in the school system, in the curriculum. All right, his story, not the true history, but his story. Right, so we're gonna jump to 205. Check this out.
Modern Thanksgiving we know, football, big dinner, turkey, was shaped in the late 1800s, 1900s, long after the Pilgrims. 5. For many Native Americans, Thanksgiving is a day of mourning. Every year in Plymouth, Massachusetts, some Native groups gather to remember colonization, disease, stolen land, broken treaties, the loss of millions of indigenous lives. For them, the holiday represents survival, not celebration. What Thanksgiving means today. Thanksgiving today has evolved into something separate from its origins. Family gathering, gratitude, food, togetherness. Many people choose to honor both, the truth of indigenous history and the modern meaning of thankfulness. Some families add land acknowledgments, Native history, or support Native causes as part of their holiday. If you want, I can also explain what really happened between.
So that's the point. When it comes down to Esau Edom, all right, the colonization and everything that he did, that was fulfilling prophecy. All right, read that again.
Yep. Genesis 49 and
Bring up
19.
that Psalms 50.
Gad, a troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the last.
Right. There you go.
I read this in the NLT.
Go ahead.
It said, Gad will be attacked by marauding bands. Can I look that up really quick? Marauding, Marauding. So it said, Gad will be attacked by marauding bands, but he will attack them when they retreat.
Woo! Now we coming to the time now, all right, that the Most High Yahweh is going to defend, all right, for Israel, all right, and Gad gonna overcome the truth, all right. But guess what? Prophecy has already been played out as the truth should overcome Gad, all right. As we're thinking about what Thanksgiving, all right, going back to the early 1600s. All right, you got that word?
Yeah, you got the word. Play this out. Marauding.
This is marauding from the Google dictionary. It says going about in search of things to steal or people to attack.
Yeah. Like to plunder, pretty much to steal. Like you say, man. And that's what Esau, that's what he did. He stole his land.
Yeah.
With Nahum, woke to the bloody city for lies,
Robbery.
That's what he did. That's how he got this land known as Babylon the Great.
That's right.
He stole it from the Native Americans, man. Right?
You got that Psalms?
I got a Psalm 50.
Yeah.
What, 16?
Yeah, come on.
This is Psalms chapter 50, verse 16. But unto the wicked Yahweh saith, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes, or that thou shouldest take my covenant in thy mouth?
Oh, Shalaka. No, Psalm 17. His word was smooth and butter.
Psalms 55. I got it right here.
Go ahead.
This is Psalms 55. I'm going to start at 20. He had put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him.
Right, because when you go into this, ChatGPT was speaking about how, the Native Americans, when they came over, all right, to the Americans, right, the Europeans that came over to the Americans, all right, they spoke about how Gad and Reuben, which is Native American Indian, helped them, all right, showed them how to till the land, showed them how to wash themselves and clean themselves, showed them how to hunt, showed them how to really live, off the land. Go ahead.
He had put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him.
There you go. See, Gad was at peace with them. But we got to remember, as the scripture said, a truth shall overcome them. See, prophecy had to be fulfilled. And here it is, he set the wicked up to do so. All right, and going to them 600, they say he made peace treaty with them, over 600 peace treaties. He broke every last one of them. You got it.
He had broken his covenants. The words of his mouth was smoother than butter, but war was in his heart.
There you go. Why? Because prophecy had to be fulfilled as the Native American Indians had to be taken down. Gad and Reuben had to be overcome. So this played out in the form of the Europeans coming over here, man. Mm-hmm. All right. You got, Cristobal Colon. You got it.
It said the words of his mouth was smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords.
Yet they were drawing swords. All right. You got it. Well.
Yeah, I got to say. This is Sirach chapter 12, verse 16. It says, an enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit. Mm-hmm. He will weep with his eyes, but if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood.
Yeah, there you go. And that's how he did with the Native American Indians, man. All right, he came over the smallpox. You know what I'm saying? He waited till the men went off to war to kill the animals and the women and the kids. This is devil, man. But it was all set up, designed through prophecy that this had to happen. Now we're at the point now that guess what? Gad can overcome the truth. You know?
And can you read verse 10 in that chapter?
This is Sirach chapter 12, verse 10. It says, never trust thine enemy, for like his iron rusted, so is his wickedness.
That's it. But through his lies, our people fail to what? Trust in him. This school system, we have been bamboozled. We've been tricked. We've been hit across the head. But now the spirit of life entered into us. Now we see what Thanksgiving all about. You know? You got it.
No, I mean, that's it right there.
I got a precept, because we keep mentioning about, Gad, Reuben, coming here to the Americas and saying, that they are the so-called Native Americans today. And we can find their history, in the Apocrypha that we have here at the 1611.
Right.
So I'm going to grab it real quick in 2nd Ezra, chapter 13, and I'll start at verse 39. Because it says, and whereas thou sawest that he gathered another peaceable multitude unto him, those are the 10 tribes which are carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea, the king who Salmanasar, the king of Assyria, led away captive. He carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. And it was Osman's again, exile from the land of Israel, because we wasn't hearkening into the law, statutes, and commandments of our Heavenly Father. So he sent in, the heathen king, to ultimately eradicate us and get us out of our land and put heathens there, and they think that they call themselves Israelites today, but this is just a part of it. But I'm gonna keep going because it says in verse 41, it says, but they took this counsel among themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a farther country where never mankind dwelt.
Right, and that's America. All right, because remember, this known as the other part of what? The most other part of the earth, man, the end of the earth. What are they coming over here to do? They're coming over here to keep the laws, statutes, commandments. They're coming over here to do the will, of the Lord. They want to serve the Lord in righteousness. But what happened? They failed. Why? Because of the curses. All right? Why? Because the Lord have put, when you go into what that Romans 8 and 16, or the Romans 8 and 20, all right, the creature was made subject to vanity. Yeah, they had the right attention, the right mindset. Well, guess what? Prophecy had to play out. So when they came over to the Americans, they were still worshiping, all right, those idols. All right, that they took from the Assyrians. They still worship those false gods. All right? And what happened? The Lord led, all right, the so-called Europeans over here and binded them and put them into captivity and brought the so-called Negroes over here.
It say that in it too.
Huh?
It said it in this chapter 2.
Go ahead.
Because it says whenever mankind dwelt. Verse 42, it says that they might keep their statutes.
See that was their mindset. But they can keep the law, statutes, commandments of the Lord. Go ahead. Because remember in the Syrian captivity, all right, they knew who they were. All right, but they started to fall. They started to fall because they started to rehearse the righteous acts of the heathens.
Not righteous.
Not righteous, but they started to rehearse the acts of the heathens. So I can go throughout it. Unrighteous acts. Man, but you know what I'm saying? They started to rehearse the acts of the heathens. All right, and that was all throughout all the captivities, man. But we just know through the Greek Empire, we fell from knowing who we were. You know what I'm saying? Because when you go to the Syrian Empire, the Babylonian Empire, the Persian, the Medes Empire, we knew who we were. All right? We kept the custom. We had kings that ruled over us. When we went into the Greek Empire, that's when we fell. All right? Just the Roman Empire. You got it.
Yep, it says, which they never kept in their own land. Verse 43, and they enter into Euphrates by the narrow passage of the river. And they were them, taking their route, coming back into the western part of the hemisphere where never mankind do it. So it says in verse 44, For the Most High then showed signs for them, and hell stilled the flood till they were passed over. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely a year and a half, in the same region is called Asherah.
Yeah.
Yep. And it says, verse 46, then dwelt they there until the latter time, and now when they shall begin to come.
See?
And that's the southern kingdom,
The Southern Kingdom.
coming till they begin to come over there.
That's right. The prophecy had to be fulfilled. All right. And what happened? Spain. That's why you got the England. You know, the British. You know, how that took over. But that's why you have some of the Northern Kingdom. They speak Spanish. Why? Because they was conquered. I mean, they were moved into Portuguese in Spain. That's why they speak Spanish. You know, and England ruled. That's why we speak English. You know. You guess
Now, I'm thinking about the prophecy. I would bring him back to his brother. You know, I want to say that Deuteronomy, but it's all good.
Okay.
You know, but I do got some with this what's this Habakkuk.
So we just coming back now to the realization that this history that we have been taught growing up is false history.
Yeah.
This is not true history. This is not according to the scriptures. Because when you go into the Bible, this is the true history. All right. Of all nations, especially the nation of Israel. You know? You got it.
This is Habakkuk 2:12. Woe to him that build a town with blood, establish a city by iniquity.
There you go, because that's what his whole MO was. Why? Because that's what the Lord programmed him to do. All right, how he established this city by blood? By killing the Native American Indians. Raping, robbing, murdering, all right, the Northern Kingdom and the Southern Kingdom. All right, remember what it is, Numbers 33. Or the land cannot be cleansed by the blood that was shed.
Yeah.
You got to think about it. When it came down to the devil taking over, all right, the lands of Gad and Reuben, it was a lot of tragedy. All right, a lot of bloodshed. The Trail of Tears, you know, they got down in Mississippi. The Devil Punch Bowl. All right, what is it? You know, they got the Trail of Tears too, also in Arkansas.
Yeah, it came through Arkansas. Came through there.
I remember the apostles. I remember the apostles
right here in Memphis.
Huh?
You got Trail of Tears right here in Memphis.
Yeah, the whole route, you know, from
You go to
east
Harbortown, Trail
all
of
the way
Tears,
to the Midwest of
the bridge
America.
that you cross over.
Harbor Town?
Yeah, Trail of Tears all through. They came through Tennessee. They came through Memphis. That's why this is the Soto Hernando de Soto bridge.
County.
Yeah, they came through here.
Yeah.
The Trail of Tears comes straight through Memphis.
Yep. I remember Apostle speaking about it, like it was a lot of Gadites in Memphis.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of Gadite, you know, Reubenites in Memphis. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you got a street named after Tullahoma. You got Tullahoma. You got Tennessee itself.
Yeah.
The name Tennessee, that's a
That's Tomahawk.
Yeah.
You got a lot of streets named after, you know.
and that Chattanooga.
Yeah.
Tennessee, Chattanooga. That's native talk.
We say it's a street around here, like near the Gad, where y'all talking about. I think it's one of the streets named Manasseh over there.
Yeah, Manasseh.
Yeah.
Manasseh,
You know what I'm saying? Like, damn. So it's like, then if I may add too, you know what I'm saying, when I was answering to the truth, when the Lord was leading me to the truth, you know, some days I ain't have enough data on my phone, so I click it on Direct TV, and one day I end up coming across, you know what I'm saying, one of these Edomite pastors, you know, but he from Arkansas, Shepherd's Chapel, you know, and he was down there in Memphis right there breaking, you know what I'm saying, and then like how a lot of Gad and Reubenites down there, and I think that Los Lunas Stone was like right there, and he was like had his hands into breaking it down, and it was beautiful because like as the Lord was leading me, I seen Elder Kazak, you know what I'm saying, Allah, you know what I'm saying, breaking it down. That's how I knew right then, like, oh yeah, that's the truth. That's us, you know what I'm saying. We those people, you know what I'm saying. So Yeah, man.
Even when you go in South Memphis, you got a lot of Indian mounds over there on the riverside over there, going to President's Island over there with a metal museum. Them Indian mounds over there. Like this whole region is full of Native American heritage. But you got this word Chattanooga, I got it right here, right? Because Chattanooga, I want to say it's like the fourth largest or fifth largest, somewhere in there, in the state of Tennessee. Say the word Chattanooga is derived from Muskogean or Creek word meaning rock coming to a point or end of the mountain, a reference to the prominent Lookout Mountain. It can also be translated as Marked Rock River, and originally comes from a Cherokee name for the area. Yep. So like this whole state is full of Native American, so-called Native American heritage. Yep.
Chickasaw.
Chickasaw, yeah.
Yeah, we got that in so,
Yep.
Yeah, that was real spiritual too. You know, part of my walk. You know, because I went to Chickasaw right, middle school, and then the Chickasaw I was the mascot. I was the chief.
Yep.
You know, and I heard this is true. You know what I'm saying? Through the spirit of playing a big game. Like it all made sense. You know, just tapping into, you know, your heritage. Yeah.
Yeah, I got a precept.
Go ahead.
So this is Micah 2:2. It says, and they covet fields and take them by violence.
It started at 1. Because this leads back into Esau and his blessing. But as the Most High Yahweh designed this, you know what I'm saying, from the beginning. This was already orchestrated in the heavens that it was going to play out in this form. All right, because the earth now that we understand that was given to the hand of the wicked is in their power. All right, they didn't get this power on their own to come over here and conquer the Native American Indian. When you go into the history of the war between them, all right, they caught hell. They caught hell because you got to remember, Gad and Reuben is the warrior tribe. You know what I'm saying? But it took the spirit of Yahweh Shema trying to take their might from them, their power from them. He stripped them.
Yep. And then Esau used to attack and divide and conquer.
Yeah.
He had sellouts, you know, with it the Native Americans too.
He said the neighbor would say the priest would say but the wicked seduces them. You know what I'm talking about?
The righteous is more excellent than his
neighbor. But the wicked. So when it came down, like you're saying, you know, Esau played a hand into tricking Gad and Reuben to be on their side, all right, to conquer the other, Native Americans. They had to play out that way. You know, but when you start up to that Micah 2:1, it said, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. All right, and that's what they've been doing. All right, because that's the devil MO. He was brought back in power in Rome 2.0 to what? To deceive the earth. All right, not to help the earth, no, to deceive the earth and take peace from the earth. That's his power. That's his power, his fourth tongue, which is deception. All right, you got it, Tyler.
Yeah, this is Micah 2:1 from the Amplified version. It says, woe, judgment is coming to those who devise wickedness and plot evil on their beds. When morning comes, which means when you wake up in the morning, it's dealing with the first thing. Morning deals with when you wake up in the morning, what you do. It's the first things you do. So the first thing Esau Edom does is wickedness. That he wake up doing, like that's what he's built to do. He gets up to do.
He don't know nothing else.
Yeah, that's what he gets up to do. That's his job. You know. Say when the morning comes, it's not talking like, oh, they just do it in the morning. You know, that's talking about waking up in the morning is the start of your day. So this is what they do. It says when morning comes, they practice evil because it is in the power of their hands. They covet fields and seize them in houses and take them away. They oppress and rob a man in his house, a man in his heritage. So they wake up saying, who life I'm gonna fuck up today? You know, who resources can I take today? Let's see what they doing over here in India. Let's see what they're doing over here in Ghana. Oh, they got lithium over here.
Yeah.
Let's see who
opioids.
So that's what they do. They covered fields. Fields go into land. So they covered these lands for the resources.
Yeah.
And when they came over here to the Americas, they saw that this was a land rich, flowing with resources. Gold, milk, honey. You know, it was also like deemed like another Canaan. You know, that's why. And the reason it was like that is because we was over here.
That's right.
You know,
King Solomon used to travel through there.
Right. Yeah. So because King Solomon had a navy.
Yeah.
You know, they would come back and forth. You know, over here, which would take 3 years round trip. So I go a year and a half. Take about a year and a half to get over here from Jerusalem, and then a year and a half to come back round trip. But our people always knew, beginning with our forefather Abraham, how to deal with resources and make life abundant. When it comes to agriculture and, you know, everything pertaining to living life abundantly and dealing with resources, we understood it. They didn't. They was called pilgrims because they was looking for a miracle. They were servants. You know, they was being enslaved. Really, when you go to the history, Queen Queen Elizabeth and King Ferdinand, they was Jakes. You know, and they was under the foots, the so-called pilgrims, right? They was under the foots of that authority in England. So they really was coming over here seeking refuge, you know. But when they came, what they found was the Israelites, the northern kingdom specifically. What did they do? They plotted, they devised iniquity of how to get this land.
Yeah.
You know,
the resources.
Yeah, and they still celebrate it today. You know, Thanksgiving is all about that genocide against so-called Native American Seminole Indians. That's what Thanksgiving was about. You know, and they did because everything covenants are made by sacrifice, right? So a part of that covenant was partaking in the supper, partaking in the meal, just like Jacob and Esau. It was a meal that stamped that.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, they stamped that deal. You know, so they sit down and broke bread with us and ate with us, and then, you know, exchanging gifts, gave us all type of diseases, smallpox, measles, you know. So,
but that's fulfilled prophecy.
This is what our people today are honoring.
Yeah,
you know, you honoring the death of your own inheritance.
Yeah, I got this in the chat GPT, right? It said, why people say Thanksgiving is fake? They say it's usually mean the holidays ignore the suffering of Native people faces. The story was cleaned up to feel positive. The modern celebration is more American tradition than historical facts. You know, that's how they bamboozled us through the school system. All right, from kindergarten all the way to 12th grade. We have been believing that, you know, this devil, all right, how he conquered America was in righteousness.
Was it covered up with positive?
Yeah.
Lied.
Yeah.
You know, it's lied.
So it says, and then it says, many people treat it as a day to be with family, a day of gratitude, a day to acknowledge the real history, not the myth. So they know what happened to Gad and Reuben. They know what happened to the Native American Indian about the rape, robbing, murder, and destruction. But here it is, they overlook it because of the tradition, family gathering.
Yeah, but all them family gatherings, majority of Jake's family gatherings result in violence, hatred, you know. And another thing about it is what they don't realize is that you're putting forth that Esau is a high level warlock, right? So on the left hand side, what he does is he capitalizes off of your energy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you putting your energy into this day, regardless. Like so, if you want to have a day to be thankful, why not keep the days that the Lord set up? You see, you doing like, can a brother get Jeremiah 10,
Yeah.
10 and 2? You're doing a vain custom, and the tradition was built behind this vain custom.
Right.
Yeah.
So instead of you doing a good thing, you're actually doing a vain thing, which is vanity ultimately leads to sin. You know, because if you don't really address the issue, which is we've been raped, robbed, and murdered on this day that the whole world is celebrating. Thanksgiving is really a oxymoron. Like it's like you saying it's a day to be thankful, and they saying thank you for giving us all this. You know, thank you for allowing us to sit down with you and get up underneath you and rob you, because we got this for nothing. Thank you for believing that we was gonna honor 500 plus treaties. Thank you for believing our bullshit.
Right. Look. Thank you for bowing down.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. And then they make mockery and come right back behind it with Black Friday.
Dang.
Right? So they get you in that spirit. Oh man, it's good. Then next day, go out and buy everything else. Go buy the food. Now go and buy it all out to just teach you to be a consumer.
That's it.
You know. So your mind are consumed spiritually, mentally, and physically. Now they got you consumed.
Yeah. And guess what? This day ain't holy.
It's not holy.
And today is what the Shabbat. You know.
Yep.
And people ain't honoring that, but they would rather honor this wicked holiday.
Man. And I noticed that. You're right. It is the Shabbat. And so, like Black Friday sales start today. Like they be starting at like midnight. They gonna start going out shopping, which it ends. The Sabbath actually do end tonight. But nevertheless, that's a beautiful point, because, like the scriptures say, choose you this day who you gonna serve. Like majority, like everybody cooking. You ain't supposed to be cooking, right? Yeah. So you gotta make a choice. You gonna honor the Sabbath, or you gonna honor the Lord? I mean, you gonna honor the Sabbath, or you gonna honor man's customs? Get that Jeremiah 10, Baba Shah.
This is Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 2. It said, "Thus said the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of the heavens. For the heathens are dismayed at them. For the custom of the people are vain."
The customs of the people are vain, right? The things they are accustomed to doing is vanity.
Yeah.
Right? And what happened? You got emptied out of this land. They just completely destroyed you till you was completely. They just kept pushing you out, out.
Now they on reservation.
Yeah. You just, you know what I'm saying? So, hey, I'm gonna jump back here. That's all I wanted at the Jeremiah 10. I'm gonna jump back here real quick, right? So this is again in the AMP of Micah 2. I'm gonna pick up at verse 3. It says, "Therefore, thus said," matter of fact, let me read verse 2 again. It says, "They oppress and rob a man and his house." Right? America, so-called America, was the natives' house, was Gad and Reuben's house. This was their dwelling. They got robbed by Esau Edom. A man and his inheritance go to this land. They got completely pushed out of the land.
Yeah. You know? Hey, look, when you go into Esau, his blessing, right? Isaac said, "Fatness of the earth and the dew of heaven." But what? By the sword.
Yeah.
Should I live?
Yeah.
So wherever his dwelling place said, wherever he had, he conquered that by what? By the sword.
Yeah. But see, that's his curse. The sword is his blessing and his curse.
That's it.
You know,
That's right. Paul
because he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword.
That's it.
See, he didn't get the fatness of the earth through righteousness. Like Abraham got his inheritance through righteousness.
That's right.
You know, Abraham earned everything. He didn't rape, rob, or murder nobody for his inheritance. That inheritance got
Ain't
passed.
deceived nobody.
Look, that inheritance got passed down to Isaac.
Yeah.
Right? And then even still with Jacob inheritance got passed down from Isaac to him. And then if you look at how Israel really became great, because we were small. With Jacob and his 12 sons, we were small. We became great as Joseph went into Egypt and made us even greater.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So we earned everything. You know? We didn't go around rape, robbing, and murdering people to get resources. You know? When Abraham encountered other nations, there was a level of respect that he had for every, you know what I'm saying? When you read about the story of Abraham. But anyway, Esau, Edom is just the opposite. So this is what the Lord say concerning them. Therefore, thus said the Lord Yahweh, behold, I am planning against this family a disaster, exile, like a noose from which you cannot remove your necks, nor will you be able to walk heartily and erect, for it will be an evil time of subjugation to the invaders. So Esau got to pay that back. See, that sword that he used to slay us and conquer the earth with got to be turned back on him.
That's it.
And now the sword already being turned back to him through the mouthpieces of the Lord, which is the prophet. So it's a spiritual sword being turned on him.
That's right.
You know?
That's right. And then that's how God gonna overcome the truth at the end. Because it's gonna be the help of Yahweh Shema Shah. Just like it was the help of the Lord to bring them down. You see?
Yep.
The Lord called, man.
That's prophecy. That how came to pass. Like, yeah, troops overcome him. Now the other half got to come to pass.
That's it.
God shall overcome at the last, meaning he gonna be victorious at the end.
That's right.
You know, we get the victory.
At the end of the day,
we win.
Yeah.
We can't lose.
All right, here go verse 4, right? It says, on that day they shall take up a taunting, deriding parable against you, and wail with a doleful and bitter song of mourning, and say, we are completely destroyed. God exchanges inheritance of my people. How he removes it from me. He divides our fields to the rebellious, our captors.
yeah. That's how Esau was able to, get the land by the sword.
Mm-hmm.
You know what Ezra even Ezra saw this. You go to second Ezra 6 and 54. How did he became to be Lord over us?
Yeah.
By them taking over our land. By them, coming in power. That's how he became to be Lord over us, man. And what we have today.
Landlords.
All these let me talk. Landlords. You know what I'm saying? But all these nations over us, all right, through the fulfillment of Esau taking down Gad and Reuben. Because like Dr. Mark always mentioned, who the consumers?
Hey, can I read that in the NLT?
Yeah, you gotta go.
Micah 2 and 4 in the NLT. In that day, your enemies will make fun of you by singing this song of despair about you.
Yeah, so Thanksgiving is making fun of you niggas.
Yeah, it's a mockery.
Yeah.
In your face.
And in songs, they actually got songs.
Yeah, they got Thanksgiving songs.
Yeah, they got songs where they make mockery about you niggas, man. And it happened to us, because you got certain brothers, amongst us in this room right now, there's Gad, Reubenites in our camp, but it didn't just happen to Northern Kingdom, it happened to Southern Kingdom as well.
Yeah.
Yep. I finished it. It said, "We are finished, completely ruined. God has confiscated our land, taking it from us.
See?
He has given our fields to those who betrayed
Yeah,
us."
because when you go back to the late 1600s, around 1676, between 1676 like 1681, right? You had Jakes teaming up with Esau to fight against Gad and Reuben. Esau set up a rebellion where he had the southern kingdom teaming up with Esau Edom, which I'll say this: you had poor Edomites that looked like Edomites, and then you had poor so-called white people before these terms white and black came about, right? You had Dutchmen, you had Irishmen, you had Englishmen. You know, they wouldn't call white people at this time. But
Right.
this is how white and black came about. The terms white and black came about them putting the northern kingdom, the southern kingdom against the northern kingdom.
That's right.
Because they had the black slaves at that time, so-called black slaves at that time, team up with the poor white people to fight against the natives.
Yeah.
That's called Bacon's Rebellion.
That's right. That's it.
And that's when that went down. When that went down, that's when they created their social construct, the class of white and black, to keep it divided, where blacks would be deemed hereditary slaves, and poor whites could be indentured servants. They cut out indentured servitude for so-called blacks. You know.
Yeah. That's why when you go to the 1800s, you had Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln. All right, and their history too, dealing with Abraham Lincoln. All right, I also had in the ChatGPT too, also. All right, dealing with Abraham Lincoln after what? World War II. Right, it said Abraham Lincoln made a national holiday during the Civil War. All right, not the Pilgrim area, but it was then dealing with the Civil War that he made it in the 1800s, 1860. All right, national holiday. You know, but yeah, you got it though, Todd.
But they don't honor that. Yeah, like they don't. What you talking about? He made what a national holiday? Talking about the Emancipation Proclamation. That's what he's supposed to say. That's supposed to be.
No, Thanksgiving.
It
said Thanksgiving wasn't it wasn't a national holiday until 1860.
Okay.
Yeah,
he made it a national.
Yeah,
holiday.
Abraham Lincoln made it a national holiday.
Yeah.
So but that was to bring. Cause remember, you just got done speaking about the war between how Esau Jews, Jacob, own the Native American Indians. All right, so he made it as in a gathering, like a peaceful. Mm-hmm. So he basically tried to merge all nations together. And it's gonna be Thanksgiving. But the whole time we understand, what it was about. It was about slaving and slaughtering the Native American Indian to take over their land for the resources.
And covering up the truth.
Yeah. But it all ties into what? Prophecy.
Yep. Yeah, because when what was that? The 1492. That's when Cristobal Colon, right? Which they try to say he was Christopher Columbus. He really was a Amalekite.
Yes, it. That's in the
His
scripture.
real name was Cristobal Colon. So he came over here. He knew what was on this side in the Western Hemisphere. But he didn't. He thought he had landed in what did it say?
India.
Yeah. Hey, dude was lost like a motherfucker. Now you discover something.
They was already here.
Yeah. But you got it, bro.
Yeah.
Hey, go ahead. I want to play a little video dealing with Native American, and then we're gonna wrap it on up.
This is Colossians chapter 2, verse 8. Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit, after the tradition of men, after the rudiments of the world, and not after the anointing.
That's it.
Spoil means to take, you know what I'm saying? Or,
Yeah, and we have been robbed and spoiled.
Mhm.
You know, that's why, you know, we coming back at when you go to Ezekiel, the 37th chapter, all right, going to them 2 sticks. All right, you got the one stick representing the southern kingdom,
Yeah.
and the other stick represent what? The northern kingdom. All right, gang, you got, like I say, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and what? Native Americans. All right, those 2 sticks are being joined together. Why? Because in this captivity, we are oppressed together, which fulfilled Jeremiah, the 30th chapter. As in Judah and Israel shall be oppressed together. All right, but you got it. Was it on that? You go to your feast days?
Yeah, we got it right here.
Okay. We go.
Some of the Amos.
Yeah.
This is Amos chapter 5, verse 21. It says, I despise your feast days, and I would not smell in your solemn assemblies.
Yeah. And you're gonna have a lot of individuals pray to Jesus. All right, to bless their food.
I got chitlins on the table.
Pork and every damn thing. Pork and the green. Pork and everything.
Crawfish.
But yeah, it's getting so outrageous now that it's gonna be shrimp on the table. Crab legs on the table. And it's Thanksgiving. You know what I'm saying? But it show you that how Jake continue to get more wicked and wicked by the day, man.
Yeah, the Lord said, remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. So, like the brother saying, it's the Sabbath, and our people doing all the profane shit today.
The most. And guess what? Don't have no fear or no care in the world by the judgment of the Lord. This they really believe that this is the day that the Lord have set up for them. No, we have our high holy days. We have our feast days that we supposed to give honor to the Lord, and this is not one of those days.
A whole lot of idolatry and abominable works going on right now.
Right. Which working on the hands of what? The left hand side Esau. You know, that's why he's like, hey, we're going to go and give him the stamps back. You know, he trying to butter you motherfucking Jason to take that charagma. Yeah. That's all it is. Y'all boasting and brag, talking about, nigga, don't give me the food stamps. I'm going to go take this, I'm going to go take that. He give y'all the food stamps, now y'all back love him even more. Yeah. Come on, man. A Stockholm syndrome, man.
Yeah, because he wanted to build up that Esau, like playing games, psychological games. He would build up that anxiety right before the holidays to make you think you're not going to be able to get your the snaps and the food stamps, right? So they build up that anxiety and see how Jake is. The more anxiety and oppression you put on them, the more they want to release.
Exactly.
So you know, Jake can tow up the stores.
Yeah.
Especially like, man, I'm glad, thank you God, man, to bring them food stamps back so we can celebrate Thanksgiving. Woo! See, that's idolatry. That's not the God. That's not the God of the Bible that you worship.
That's right.
You ain't supposed to be doing none of that bullshit.
No. So it's tied into
you're worshiping the God on that dollar bill.
Yeah.
And the God on that dollar bill that you worshiping is the face of that man on that dollar bill.
Yeah.
That's when you look at that term and God we trust on the dollar bill, that God represents that picture on that fucking bill. Yeah. That's why you got a man that look like him on your wall talking about this Jesus. You know what I'm saying? That's not the Lord.
That's right, bro.
That's another Jesus.
The other white man.
That's the other white man.
But yeah, you know, you got
I got one. This is Mark 7:7. Howbeit, in vain do they worship me.
Yeah, in vain.
Because you know they sitting around that table praying, Lord bless the food. No, all that shit is abominable, man. You know? It said, howbeit in vain do they worship me.
And you can't can't feel no type of way you can, but that's why you gotta lead on to the Lord, because we always in that mindset once. You know what I'm saying? But now the Lord has brought us out of that darkness.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now we understand through this marvelous light that here it is, this is not the day for us. You know what I'm saying? This day that you celebrate is a day of murdering, a day of killing.
Yeah. And it's not Yahweh Shadi.
Exactly.
Like that fat nigga, you know, had the bacon and the corn on his kid.
Yeah. This don't please the Lord.
Yeah, nah. Where he at?
Yeah, talking about King David.
Amos 5,
Yeah, because the Lord just said that. What you say, dog?
No, I'm talking to him. I was trying to say he had some more on there, I think, too.
Yes, well, slide. I jumped the gun, bro.
You
Finish it, bro. Slide.
This is back at Amos chapter 5, verse 22. It said, though you offer me burnt offerings, your meat offerings, I will not accept them. Neither would I regard the peace offerings of your fat beasts. Woo! It said, take thou away from me the noise of thy songs, for I will not hear the melodies of thy vows.
Like you singing the praise, and you ain't hear none of this shit, man.
That's what Todd brought out in Jeremiah 10:2.
Yep.
The custom is what is vain. So you doing all that, guess what? It ain't pleasing the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
You doing it all for nothing.
Really making it a little angry, more and more.
Yeah, provoking the Lord.
Yep. Because the servants, the prophets of the Lord, is telling the Lord people to stop it. Stop keeping these pagan holidays.
Yeah, repent.
Depart from evil and do good.
Yeah.
But nah, y'all want.
Is going to choose none of his ways.
Yep.
And through you. That's why I used to always quote truth over tradition.
And this exactly.
So this is the time now that the prophets is exposing the devil, lifting their veil up, bringing out the true history. All right, and therefore you're supposed to choose that truth over the tradition, because you see that the tradition is built off lies. It's built off deception. It's built off blood. So why would you believe that tradition when it's built off that? It ain't built on righteousness. It ain't built off the spirit of Yahweh Shema Shah. So why keep it? That's why Hosea 4:6. A lot of people will be destroyed for the lack of knowledge, man. But you got it, Todd.
No, I was just on the hard back on that point that you was bringing out about Abraham Lincoln.
Oh, you come.
Yeah. So he deemed Thanksgiving a holiday based upon them uniting for civil war.
See that?
Yeah.
Going back what you were saying, how he used Jake.
You see how he flipped it?
Uh-huh.
So now Jake will see that and be like, see, that's what it was about. Now, that was a tactic. That was a plot to because you still not free.
At the end of the day.
And then look, they just made Juneteenth. So Emancipation Day is supposed to be June 19th. That's what Juneteenth supposed to be about, right? It say Emancipation Day, a holiday that commemorates the abolition of slavery. It says Juneteenth, also called Emancipation Day. So he made Thanksgiving a holiday all the way back then, but you niggas just got Juneteenth
a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Really, literally a couple years ago.
And you niggas still don't get off of that day.
Came out of nowhere.
You don't get off of that day.
Hell no.
So how you free, but you gotta go to work. You get off on Thanksgiving.
It's their holiday. That's why your ass get off. Because it's their day.
Yeah, his day.
Because remember on Martin Luther King Day, in my job, you can take off, but your ass ain't gonna get paid.
But they try to make it seem like Thanksgiving. Abraham, they try to make it seem like Thanksgiving had something to do with us.
Exactly.
Being one with them.
But the whole time, that's how they get you. And then think about it, dealing with this devil and his technology, he better work away history. He trying to take all the true history out of the museum. Right? He gonna rewrite history. So therefore, when the kids grow up, there's no knowledge of what happened, how they got to America. No knowledge of nothing.
Yeah.
But the serpent and what he got going on.
And that's why they want to take slavery out of school. So,
Yeah.
Critical race.
Critical race theory.
Because it's beautiful too, like even at the top of saying, because I was thinking too, like even with the amendments, right? It's certain they implemented, certain amendments for you so-called Negroes, here in America. But if you broke that law, right, that would take your rights away and ultimately make you a slave again.
Yeah, that's why when you go to jail, the 13th Amendment, because when you get locked up in jail, then that's when all that apply.
Yeah,
That's
have
why
no
you got
more
people.
rights. They take away your rights.
There you go, and you become a physical slave again. That's why when you go to prison, they still gotta go to the farm. They still gotta go, and you know somebody real talk. They still gotta go on the plantation. You know, and pick cotton, pick corn. They gotta do all that.
Especially them state penitentiaries. That's why criminals rather go to the feds than
Then go to the state. Yeah.
The state penitentiary be harder than federal penitentiary.
Yeah.
A lot of them states, they're gonna sit your ass out to a big country
A big ass field.
Give
your ass, hey, look, throw your ass a shovel, catch that hoe, and all they want to see is ass and back.
Niggas still looking like life with Eddie and with Claude and Ray out there.
Why do you think niggas scared to go to New Orleans? You know, they speak about Angola.
Oh, shit.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Angola. Every telling you, because that's what they doing. That's slavery.
Every criminal that ever been locked up and stayed in federal penitentiary, they'll tell you all day long, man, send me to the feds. I'd rather go to the feds than the state.
Yeah.
Because the state on, man.
They're going to boot your ass
that's
up.
That's really what Emancipation Proclamation is about.
That's what it is.
About you being transferred to the state. It's just a transfer of property.
Yeah. That's it. State property.
Yeah.
Private property.
My ass on.
Go ahead, bro.
I was gonna say that's what the Civil War was about. It wasn't about freeing the slaves. It was about who gonna get the slaves.
Yeah, that's what it was about.
We fight for who was
about. It's about no more private ownership. Mm-hmm. Slaves are a federal commodity, a property, a public. It's not private no more. You can't be a private owner of slaves. Yeah. All slaves are public property of the white man now.
Yeah, look. Look.
They
It said, because that's the war was in 1812. It said Britain was at war with the recent independent United States. The fighting took place along American Canada frontier in the Atlantic. It said military conflict ended in the stalemate. But it had lasting impact community of North America. Like you're saying, that was that war between the Britain. Because remember, Britain or the Americans broke off for the Britain colonization. You know,
they were trying to establish their own power.
Yeah. That's why I got 13 colonies. You know, they broke off of Britain.
Yeah, but they never did though. That's why we have presidents, vice presidents. We don't have kings and monarchs.
Exactly, because
England still really the Brits. Because you deal with the elites. You know what I'm saying? They really still run it. The Federal Reserve.
That's why they know as the mother.
Yeah, the Federal Reserve really run America. And the Federal Reserve is owned by the elites.
That's it.
The milk ain't free.
No. they from Britain. You know what I'm saying?
It's an illusion of freedom.
It's an illusion.
Yeah. I see how it's all ties into it. But this is the Most High Yahweh because he had to bring this conflict. He had to bring about this way, all right, to bring us to the point that we are now. It had to happen. The prophets had to be fulfilled. God had to fall. You know what I'm saying? We had to come over here to the Americans, the so-called Negroes. You know what I'm saying? So all that had to take place to what we are now as in Judah and Ephraim being oppressed. And here it is. This is the land that we're going to be gathered, all right, together to be beamed up in them chariots.
You got something?
I got something about Abraham. This is from AI Overview. It said Abraham Lincoln's stance on emancipation was nuanced and involved, but the statement, it said, if I could save the Union without freeing any slave, I would do it.
See?
I would do it.
He gonna do it.
It's our part. He had to be implemented.
He did do it.
You know what I'm saying?
You know what,
because he did. Niggas ain't free.
Yeah. Hey, you know what's cold though? Because that was the division between Esau. You know, and what's going to say? All right, a house divided against itself cannot stand. So the Lord called that division between them, you know, by his chosen, the Israelites. You got it?
It said it's accurate. He said his initial prioritized preserving the Union above all else and stated that freeing the slave was not his main goal.
That was part of, you know what I'm saying, the least goal to ultimately see what we have today. You know what I'm saying? To come over today. That's why they was mad at Abraham Lincoln. They wanted to kill him, but they knew where, you know what I'm saying, where it would lead to. You know what I'm saying? The country done beautiful. They want to keep it all today.
Yeah, they want to continue to oppress us, and keep us in a docile state of mind. All right, but no, prophecy had to be fulfilled.
Yes,
and that's what we can't get around.
And he being exposed.
Yeah, he being exposed.
Hey, growing up, I was like, I hope Abraham, he free stupid hell, you know.
Hey, Tyler, you like bring out, he doing it unwillingly. You know what I'm saying? He doing good. He doing unwillingly. Like
he had a lot of slaves too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had slaves, man.
He a devil.
Yeah, he had slaves.
Well, yeah, he was in the White House.
What you talking about? Ain't no getting around that.
They just treated their slaves better. Like if you was a slave up north, you was under better conditions. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's
down south.
Yeah, down south was like, that's why they were trying to get up, because like you got treated a little more humane.
Yeah.
Like down south, you just a fucking less than a dog.
Yeah.
Just, you know.
Now it's the opposite. Because up north, like just going back to dealing with the people that's incarcerated, up north, they in the mountains, up north, they racist. They feeling that pressure, but down here it's like they joined together with Jake, so to speak. They ain't really showing their hatred on Jake as they showing it up north.
Yeah, it is very divided, because my job, you know, when I first got there, it was a dude from Michigan, Edomite, but he didn't really fuck with the other Edomites down south. It was like conflict.
Yeah.
What, Yankees? It was like Yankee on. Like, goddamn, y'all the same people though.
Because you got Edomite that treated their slaves two different ways, like Todd was saying. You know.
Hey, I know. I should have brought this out earlier. The spirit was just on me, but I just type in on ChatGPT. What is the doctrine of discovery? It said the doctrine of discovery is a legal religious principle created by European Christians nations in the 1400s through the 1500s that said Christian explorers could claim any land they discovered if no Christian ruler was already there. So the key points, being straightforward, it justified European colonization of the Americas, Africa, and elsewhere. It said indigenous peoples could be conquered, converted, or removed. The doctrine later influenced U.S. law, including in 1823 Supreme Court case Johnson versus can say the word Memphis, that said native nations couldn't own land the same way Europeans could.
Right, and that's to show you that this time period, see how it's already reaching to the 16, 17, 1800s. And we got to stand when it come down to prophecy. Remember, we grab Daniel 7-25 real quick.
Yep. I'm going to read this last part. So it said, in short, it was a colony doctrine used to justify taking indigenous lands and treating indigenous peoples as having lesser rights.
Right, because going back to the precept Tyler brought out, he read in the what version that you had read, Tyler, when it came down to Micah 2? See, you know what I'm saying? See, they all lined up because it was given unto them. Now you go to Daniel, you got Daniel 7-25.
Yeah.
I'll bring that real quick.
This is Daniel chapter 7, verse 25. And he shall speak great words against the Most High.
Right.
And shall wear out the saints of the Most High.
Right.
And think to change times and laws. And they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and the dividing of time.
Right, so that's going to that 350 years. So you link up to the time period of the 1619, 1620, all the way to 1970. Look what the devil have done concerning the time, concerning the, you know what I'm saying, the judgment on earth. It was given unto him. You see? So he was able to go about through the sword, conquering, all right, all these lands. Because why? He was in his blessing that was fulfilled through Isaac, given unto him. So everything ties into prophecy, man. So the Lord is on time, all right, understanding the time. The Lord is on time, man. We seen how we at the last of this devil empire. Because now Gad finna overcome this devil, man. But it's gonna be by the help of Yahweh Shema Shah. You know? Brothers, got anything else? Charles, you got something?
Nah, that's it.
But can I finish this, Mark?
Go ahead.
It's back in Mark 7:7. Howbeit in vain do they worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of man.
That's it. Yeah. That would bring me to, the precept I love South Stone from Jeremiah 9:6. The habitation in the midst of deceit, but it's through the lies, that the so-called white man had pushed forward through school system, through the internet, through the apps, all right, through the technology. They refuse to turn back to the Lord. They refuse to know him. That's it on that. Yeah, you let us out, Charles.
Yeah, so with that, we pray that you will edify it again, giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh. Right, double honor to our teachers, the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone. Peace, salutation to the whole elect. Hey, shalom.
Shalom. Oh, yeah.